a good point.
You want to get to our next caller?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe this is IQ. IQ, you're on with Ethan and Jenna. How's it going?
Hello again, folks.
Hey, IQ.
So I'd put in there the topic was unconventional politics. Now, I use that loosely. I had noticed discrepancies in just how we go about thinking earlier on in life. And, I've suffered from, kind of dividing myself from politics for the longest of times just because it repulsed me. It's I've never enjoyed any forms of divisiveness and tribalism because I started seeing it everywhere. I mean, everything seems to be that needs to be grouped into this and that, and you are this and you are that, and
Right.
This is them, this is they, and they are the others, and that repulses me. And I've suffered from the technical side of politics just because I've removed myself from that for so long. So this will be brief. I don't have if you want the technical side of politics. Oh, that's Puck, baby. He's a sharp one.
He is, and yet he'll say he doesn't know anything, which terrifies me. It does.
That is the humbles.
Do you know what? To be honest, one of my deciding factors to stop co-hosting my political show every Wednesday was I felt I do not know enough. And not only that, I remember one day, and this is stuck in my head, messaging V and asking if they would be interested in being a guest. And they said, I don't know enough about politics to do this. And when they said that, I was like, wait, V doesn't know enough? Why the hell am I doing this? If someone like that is saying they don't know enough to do it, then I need to question myself just a little bit more. And I get excited. Like, to me, it's like, okay, I want to have these conversations. They're important. They need to happen. But if I can't properly object to all the information or the majority of the information coming out, then I have to question if I should be doing it. And I came to the answer that no, I shouldn't be doing it until I can learn more, or perhaps change the dynamic of the show to bringing on experts on each side.
Yeah.
And I focus on questions, because the thought that I could be giving out wrong information or letting incorrect news get out as a result of something I've done is upsetting to me. While I want to change people's minds and get people talking to each other, I also want to be as responsible as possible when doing this.
And this is why I remove myself from a lot of political discussions, because I'm not well enough versed, at least when somebody hops into a political discussion, that typically means that they at least are confident that they know what they're talking about and they have looked into enough, or you just see somebody just spatting off what they believe in this and that and blah blah blah. But when I hear people that know a lot about the technical side of politics and they start spatting off a lot of different forms of government into this and that, and I'm just like, I don't know any of this, and I'm going to be completely ignorant, and I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. When it comes to politics, and why I called it unconventional, is because I have an unconventional view on politics. I try to be respectful towards people, like whenever, like my views on America. I don't want to disrespect troops. I don't want to disrespect somebody who has passion in anything, or somebody who has laid down their life to protect their way of life or their ideas, because that's really important to them. And that's important to me, regardless if I believe what or agree with what they're doing, but, I don't want to disrespect people who are laying down their lives for their beliefs.
Right.
But I'm an American, but it's kind of jus soli. I was born here. I didn't really have a choice. I guess I could have left, but where the fuck am I going to go? By the time I get to adulthood now, I'm married, I got kids, and, just up and moving becomes just a little bit complicated at that point. Right. But it's really, in my head, it's all tribalism. What really fucks me up about politics is that I see tribalism everywhere. It's us versus them. It's you have to be a Republican, you have to be a Democrat, or you're a liberal. No, I'm none of those. I'm just me. I don't look at any one particular subject and say I'm for or against that. I cannot ignore the nuances that describes each individual circumstance that surrounds what goes on with that. Right. What's happening right there. Yes, it's that. I'm against that. But what happened?
And that is what is wrong with the two-party system, is that it boils it down to you are blue or you are red.
And it's not that simple. It's a spectrum. It's not black and white. Like Jenna and I, while we agree on a lot and we're both left-leaning, I'm sure we're going to find topics where we don't agree on. And that's why we need to stop painting with this broad brush and assume everyone just has these two identities and that's it.
That's actually a good point, though.
Right wing, and I try to stay in the plane. That's kind of where I am.
Well, but at the same time, we have to be able.
Takes a stance on a particular topic before they hear the facts of the individual circumstances is what I'm against. And that's
so this is the thing. We say that, but at the same time, we say, I don't care why you vote, go vote.
That's, exercising people's opinions, and Puck should really call into this.
Well, this is why I think that we should be able to have this conversation. Have this conversation is because we are being given ballots. We're being given votes, which we deserve as human creatures. As citizens of this country, we deserve that. But we also deserve a piece of the conversation, even if we're not experts. Correct?
Oh. Yeah, and that's a big divide right there, where it comes to your opinion, and is there any validity in your opinion? Yes, you have the right to your opinion, but do you have the right to exercise your opinion on others? And that's where there's that gray area where we consider this vote to just be your opinion. You have the right to vote. You have the right to your opinion, but when you start voting, it's no longer subjective. It's becoming like objective, because you are placing your opinion on a stance that will affect other people. So, and so when you have the uneducated people who are ignorant to certain things putting their opinion out there that will affect other people, it comes down to what is more important: how you should live your life, or how other people should live their lives. And that is the worst part about it for me, because I do not have the right to tell somebody else how to live their lives.
That's true.
How do we live, or how do we not live? And the laws that are put in place seem to be more centered on how do we not live. What do I have the right to not have to experience? And that's not fair. That's not good. And that's not freedom.
No. One of my friends brought up an interesting question, and I'm going to try and represent him as best as possible. He had said, along the lines of, should there be a minimum requirement to be able to vote? Like, you have to know a certain amount or answer certain questions. For example, is someone who cannot tell you the president's job in specific details and what it all entails, be qualified to vote. Like if you
we
literally
need a license to shoot rabbits, don't we?
like if you know nothing about politics, should you really be voting? Should it be okay for you to vote? Like, should
See,
there
that's
be
my point, is that we've gone in a country trying to progress towards more people voting, and the more people have the right to vote, the more we're starting to wonder, should more people be allowed to vote? Again, yes. Why? Because the more people that talk about it, the more opinions that are exposed, the more questions that can be asked, the more problems we can solve.
I mean, perhaps maybe thinking a little off the cusp here, but is that somewhat of a solution to make to have voting licenses?
I mean, so
it doesn't mean that you need to be completely educated and pass this test on histories and all this stuff, but you have to at least be given the information on what exactly issues are, and
isn't that what registration is?
You're in, what you're voting for, at least have a basic understanding of what's going on and the truth behind whatever the opposing team is and what you stand for, and have that standardized where there's truth being supplied to people about what exactly is going on. So you're at least educated moving into what's going on. So you're not getting barraged and your opinion isn't biased by propaganda.
So, and I think
just thinking
sorry, IQ.
No, go ahead.
I think my objection to that, the point that there should be a minimum requirement would be, what about people in poorer communities who don't have access to the education? Would requiring a minimum level disproportionately affect poorer people who don't have access to the same education system? So that's where I see as one of the problems if we implemented something like that.
I think the same way that they attack voters registration, they attack all that, they'll attack anything they can. Go ahead.
Because you're thinking about it as like, standardized education. But say you want to go hunting, you have to go get a hunting license. And there's a certain amount of criteria that you need to meet. And that's to go shoot a deer.
Right.
If you want to voice your opinion that affects the country and affects how your neighbors can live their lives, you should. I don't see it to be that big of a deal to go to a polling place. There's places where you go to apply for your voting license, and it's not like you can be rejected, but it's a place that you have to go through certain steps to be educated in what exactly you're doing, instead of just handing a pistol to a toddler.
Right.
Maybe if somebody can't read, there's audio that they can listen to just be briefed on what's going on. At least give something to the people that informs them on what they're doing a little bit better. It would be a help. Anything, really.
Yeah.
So that's what government class is supposed to be for, in like the school system. That's what isn't that what registration and all of these things are supposed to be for, is the sense that it's to do that minus the pass and fail, right? When you have a driver's license, you can fail. When you have any kind of license that you apply for, you can fail, but you can't fail a voter test. It's not like you can, that's something that you can deny somebody. Well, but that's my point though, is that I think that's why they don't do that, is because they can't fail you. I think that's what registration is.
Failed us, and there must be a way to correct this, because the system has definitely failed a number of people. And,
I think it's failing.
Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but something needs to be done differently.
Yes.
But we're constantly doing that, aren't we?
To me.
So this is the thing, is I've thought that this system is just broken and we just need to start over. It's like, well, but look, and this is the only reason I'm starting to realize this is after talking to actually Holy Kool-Aid about this, in the sense of the reason that it's improving is because of how it's set up. And some of the things that we're trying to toss out are the only reason that we are able to get as far as we have. So it's like this like catch-22, you know what I mean?
Right.
IQ.
Well, my car breaks down from time to time, but it gets fixed.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that's what the Constitution's for, right? The amendments.
That it's it's garbage. It just means that there's a flaw in it that needs to be corrected, and we just need to figure out what these flaws are exactly and correct them. But what I've seen, the major problem with politics is the divisiveness.
Yes,
it's that. It's the main problem is that we are so focused and so pushed, spoon-fed actually, so many different forms of tribalism to where it's just normalized to have it, the us versus them mentality, when we really need to be working together. Yes, we're going to have different ideals and different preferences on, how people want to live their lives. And that's a really tricky thing because you can't please everybody, especially with opposing views. But working together instead of just, creating this imaginary war, drawing all these lines in the sand, this American pride to where hold on, aren't we all on the same fucking planet? Yes, we have different views and ideals that are surrounding everybody and the way we want to live, but there's a lot of shit that we need to work together on. Instead of drawing these arbitrary lines in the sand and saying that, we're the best thing in the world, because that's not true. We're all fucking people.
Right.
And we need to stop segregating ourselves so much over things that really don't need to be segregated.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's
people.
Me versus me is a little more important than us versus them.
Well, I think
get your head straight. Get yourself together, and getting along with other people is just a little bit easier.
I think the mistake people are making right now is they're viewing this as a sports game. Like it's almost like it's their favorite team. I mean, look at all the memorabilia they buy and the posters and stuff and decorate their house. It's like this is not a sports game. There's more at stake than this. We're not against each other. We need to find a way to come to the table. I mean, if I was a politician, the first thing, or I was president, the first thing I would do is grab some of the smartest people from both sides, put them in a room, make sure they can't be influenced by lobbyists, and start getting shit done. That's how I look at it.
That's why I don't watch sports, actually. If you look at the bottom line of what the NFL earned last year, and then compare that to the bottom line of the American Cancer Society, it's disturbing that we are focused on playing games.
Right.
So do we cut funding to the sports, or do we try to influence people?
To my face, because that is fucked up. Yes, we are all allowed to have fun and enjoy life and do what we want to do, but our focus is wrong. Yeah. We are too focused on competition to where collaboration should be more of a focus. Right. Solve a lot of problems.
I'm just now realizing that this may not actually be a bad thing, and the only reason I took that mindset was because of playing the devil advocate mindset as you're talking. But I'm realizing that maybe our ability as a country to devote so much time and energy and money towards sports is just exposing our self-medication, our own dissociation from reality, right? So that exposure is what can help us realize that is how we got politics into the spotlight, is by realizing, oh, people are looking at Hollywood and sports. Let's turn politics into a political game show. And then people will start paying attention. And now look, more people are paying attention. Look at how many more people are voting, have ever like 54, 52 something million. Anyway, a lot of people are voting. I think that a lot more people are paying attention to politics than have. And granted, I do need to look this up because I haven't looked this up. I'm not pulling this from a legitimate source. I'm just putting this from what I've seen. But do you think that that's in the end a good thing, because it is bringing attention to it? It is now we're even the common people talking about the flaws that even we see. And you see where I'm going with this?
So,
yeah.
Real quick, USA Today reported that most likely this election is going to have the highest voter turnout rate in the past century.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Enough people wanting change.
Right? But this is how you get people motivated, is you make them hate someone.
That's true. Can you imagine if we instituted a rank voting system? I think it's called rank shift, where essentially you put down your favorite candidate for first, for second, and for third. And I believe this is in Maine, where if you look at the ads for politicians, people who disagree are coming together in the same video and saying, hey, this is, you could vote for me this, but also you can vote for my candidate as my second. Like, they were working together to get people to vote. If we could institute that, in my opinion, in the rest of the country, we'd see what's happening in Maine, where these ads tearing down the opposition would stop happening. But unfortunately, we have people like our lovely president who specializes in divisiveness.
Gets people to pay attention. And now it's not only that, but it's exposing other flaws in the country. It's exposing flaws with so many things. And now it's like anybody can talk about is something political.
Right.
Is that a bad thing that we get used to actually talking about politics for once?
Well, no, I think, this is why I like doing, why I'm kind of all over the place with different things I talk about, because to me, I want, when people say, oh, you can't talk politics at the dinner table on Thanksgiving. It's like, no, you should be. Yes, it doesn't have to be on Thanksgiving, but we need to normalize political conversations, religious conversations, sex conversations, drugs. We need to take all these things that society says, oh, I don't want to talk about, and shine a gigantic light on them and start talking about them. That's the only way we're going to make progress, is not by brushing these issues under the rug.
That's a good point that Bassinet makes, is that the Olympics were created to stop wars. Is that true? I'm hoping somebody's fact checking that, obviously, but if that's so, then that does make sense why we need them, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to look that up, but yeah, I mean, if only we could get people to, rather than devote all their energy into watching a guy hit a bat, maybe they should, hit a ball with their bat. Maybe they should devote more time into what's going on in the world. I don't understand how people in today's day will still say, oh, I don't talk politics, it doesn't affect me. Yes, it does. Your job, your taxes, do you get gas? Do you buy liquor? Everything you do is impacted by politics.
In the words of Zach De La Roca, what does the billboard say? Come and play. Forget about the movement. Well, a lot of distraction out there to keep us, anesthetized to what's going on in the real world.
I'm hoping I didn't play too much devil's advocate during this show.
Governmental conspiracy and stuff. I want to sound like a madman.
Oh,
there's a lot of fucked up things happening.
There are,
and a lot of people should open their eyes to the world around them, and not that it's a conspiracy, but there's a lot of distracting things out there that are keeping us from seeing the big picture. And just stop, take a step back off of the labels, off of the grouping, and just look at everything for what it is, without all the bias and the propaganda, and you'll see what you're doing a lot clearer.
IQ, we got to wrap up the show in just a moment. So as always, it's a genuine pleasure talking to you. And it was awesome.
It is.
By the way, IQ made his co-hosting debut on The Perspective this past Tuesday. And we got some interesting callers. We got a couple precepts, conspiracy theorists. It was a fun one. Up until someone, of course, a precept said to us, atheists have no moral framework. It's like, oh. So if you want to check that episode out, it is on my YouTube
Yeah, we had
channel.
Batman and Robin, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Oh.
Anyway, it was great. I'd love to do it again sometime, man.
All right. Thanks, IQ. Have a safe rest of your weekend.
See you guys.
Talk to you later.
Thanks for calling back. I love when you call in.
Oh, it's always great.